Definitely did not feel ready. I think if I had have made a cognitive choice to do that earlier, then yeah, we'd probably be in a bit of a better spot.
If you would have a chance to tell just one advice to your younger self who was starting the business, what would be this one advice?
I think honestly, it would be.
Hey Sam,
Hello.
thanks a lot for being with us today. Tell me maybe a little bit more about yourself.
Well, a bit about me. I'm 26. I'm from the Gold Coast, I'd say. We've been in business as you software for less than 6 years, but the business has been around for 6 years.
Yeah.
So we opened our doors in January of 2020. Very interesting time to have done that. And we provide custom software and data solutions for people. So we build mobile and web apps, we build API integrations, automations, and we do a lot of work in sort of data engineering, data warehousing, data science.
Have you always known that you want to be like running the business, especially in the software?
Um, Probably not really. I think that through knowing a few mates and talking about what that could look like to explore is where I sort of came to really love the idea.
Yeah.
And I think since we've started the business, definitely I've seen myself continuing to sort of be in the same kind of role. But yeah, no, initially I think I didn't know what I was going to do. Yeah.
What was your dream in the childhood? Who you wanted to be always?
Well, the first idea ever was probably a police officer.
Really?
I think I figured out that that wasn't going to be the case pretty early on.
Okay.
Then I think I loved the idea of being in something IT related. Explored sort of that hardware side of like technical support. So figuring out what's wrong with someone's computer was something I thought was fun as a teenager. So maybe that's where I sort of thought I'd go. But then I honestly just stumbled into software development at a uni open day. I went along and they were talking through their computer science course, learning how to program, the sort of fun challenges that come along with that. It looked a bit more challenging. The career prospects looked more interesting. So it's sort of pulled me in.
Yeah. So you went through all the university journey, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
And how was it for you? Like, how do you think you started university probably like 8 years ago, 10,
9 years ago.
9 years
Nine
ago?
years ago.
Would it be more challenging for the person to start and study data science now comparing to 9 years ago, or what do you think?
I think I don't fully know. There's probably something to be said for the speed to information people have now from AI, and just finding answers to things is probably a little simpler. Honestly, I don't know how that applies in university. I imagine there's a lot of gatekeeping they have to do to stop people from just submitting AI assignments, but presuming it's similar to turn it in, basically. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, look, I don't know. I think I've got some mates or people I've known who have been going through more recently. It sounds pretty similar. But it depends on which university and what exactly you're majoring in, what you're studying. But I think that it would be similar or maybe a bit easier,
Yeah.
or more accessible or easier to study for. The
Interesting.
actual content, I think, would be much the same.
Because I believe, like, sometimes I'm thinking, oh, maybe I should go to the software and start like knowing how to code and how to do this stuff.
Yeah.
But then I believe that the basics that I will learn about coding or developing will be the level where I will compete not with other people but with AI. And so it's probably easier for the company to hire AI or go to Claude and like do some typing and ask AI how to do the website or how to do the hardware or software, and then to give it them quicker rather than myself coding this all by hands. How do you feel?
Yeah, I guess there's two parts to that. So I think that for one, I was just reflecting on why it maybe hasn't moved so quickly with the advent of artificial intelligence. Um, I think that by nature, I mean, academic fields do move slowly. When you do computer science at university, there's more of an academic focus. They are teaching you how to become a researcher. Like they want you to go and do a PhD with them. They want you to go work for like Google or Meta or someone and probably do a PhD and do research. That's kind of the angle. And so a lot of what they teach is quite old. It's quite base level. You're really understanding the ones and zeros that go into it, I suppose, which is far from what you would do running a business that delivers any sort of technical service. But yeah, it's really good in that way, but it also can be sometimes limiting that way because there's things you want to learn about the current industry as, let's say, a software developer, a data engineer, a consultant that you don't often just get shown straight to you. You've got to go and sort of figure that out yourself after the fact, but you do get a really good toolkit coming out. So that I guess low level understanding is something that's hard for AI to summarize for someone. So that would probably be that part that gives you an advantage coming out with it is because when someone who's got that background looks at some result from AI, I imagine it's the same for so many professions in the world. I mean, in accounting and marketing and anything specialized where, there is sort of a wealth of knowledge and experience that having behind you gives you. When you know your shit in your field and you're looking at this response from a product you've put in, you can tell very quickly if it's actually doing what you want and if there's anything you need to tweak. Whereas I think if you don't have that baseline understanding and you just say, give me this and it spits something out. It's 50-50. It's throwing shit at a wall. Like it's amazing what people who have no coding experience can do with AI. It is incredible.
Okay.
It's making it way more accessible. I think makes people less afraid of it because code's not scary. Like if you're writing Python, it's basically English.
All right, really?
Yeah, it's pretty
Okay.
close to it. Yes.
So could I learn Python in like 1 year, let's say?
Oh, easily. I think.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
Maybe I should make an order.
Yeah, no, I think if you're like okay at maths, logical thinking, you'd be okay. You can be shit at maths. The computer does the maths for you.
Okay.
So it depends what you want to do with it. But I think, yeah, Python's like probably the best way if you're just going into coding as a complete outsider. It's the best way to probably get started. In uni, they started us with something called C, which a lot of people might not have heard of. It's very low level. So it's what like Windows is written mostly in C. You have to do a lot of things yourself in C, and in Python you don't. So it's a lot more of a traditional programming language, maybe. If you look at it as a layperson, you have not much of an idea what's happening in half of it. There's a lot more rules to follow. It's a bit stricter in how you can actually produce something that functions out of it. So that's great to learn because then you have that low level understanding that's nuts and bolts. You're seeing how it really works. You're learning more about how a computer actually, as a physical piece of hardware, is going to process the code you're running on it. Whereas with Python, a bit of that's sort of hidden from sight, which is really good for learning and really nice on the day-to-day because you have to think about it. But I guess there's a benefit to learning both ways.
Yeah. So can you say that you jumped basically from the uni straight to the business?
Yeah, we basically got straight into it. So we did a brief internship in uni, myself and all the other guys who I started the business with. That was at Queensland Airports here on the Gold Coast. That was a really, really awesome, great experience. But then, a group of us, we really got on well and wanted to have a crack. One of our mates, Harrison, already had started a small business with someone in uni doing kind of light app and web development work. So we picked up a client that he'd already been working with. And that was kind of our first gig, I guess, building out this website for this guy. And just got right into it for better or for worse, really, yeah.
What made you feel to keep going with like on your own with your own clients instead of jumping into some business and just having the regular salary?
I think the excitement was part of it. The freedom to choose what we wanted to work on a bit more, but also I guess the responsibility to have to be accountable for your decisions as well. It's kind of a balance between the freedoms and the shackles of a business owner. That's an exciting place to play in, maybe, I think. I don't know. There's probably lots of other people who, why did you start this business? Well, I don't know. I just kind of thought it would be fun, and here I am. So that's probably the biggest answer. I think the variety of work we've been able to do, running our own shop, and how quickly we've learned things because of that has been awesome. That's probably an experience not a lot of people get. And definitely has not been boring for us professionally. So that's a pretty large part of it.
So you've been, like 20 when you started the business, and what was it like for you? Like the first 6 months of like running your own business, what was it like for you?
The first 6 months were pretty boring because it was,
Really?
it was. I think we were open for about a month prior to lockdown starting for COVID. So we got about a month worth of working with this existing client, and we sort of were wrapping things up with him towards the end of, I want to say it was March, but my timelines could be a bit skewed. I want to say it was March. And then, everything started closing. We just talked to another company about doing some work for them. That was all sort of meant to kick off in the next couple of weeks. Granted, at the time, it's not like we're paying ourselves salaries. It's not like we have a premise. It's not like we have our premises. It's not like we have much to pay for. So, like, running the business was pretty much super lean. And we just pay ourselves for whatever work we actually did. And that was kind of it. So that's already the status quo for us for not very long. Lockdowns happen, obviously. That delays any kickoff with that next client. It delayed any ability for us to go to events and find new work. It really just put us in our bedrooms and said, pause for 3 months, guys. And we sort of had to go, I guess we'll have to pause for 3 months.
Did you take these 3 months to plan around your business, or did you just like have fun? And
I had fun is probably a strong way to describe it. It was pretty boring. We did a little bit. Like we explored a couple of projects. Like what can we build ourselves? Is there any sort of like IP we can generate? Is there any other venture we could like code something up to solve some problem people were having? But nothing just really felt like worth working on, I think. We did a little bit of work on our own business at a high level, but really, not sort of heaps until sort of, June got going and we got back in, got stuck into a bit of work, picked up a couple of new projects to start working on. We partnered up with someone just coming out of the lockdowns before we actually, we did end up getting an office space, probably around June or July, I think. So just coming out of the lockdowns. But we, partnered up with a guy who had an idea for hospitality focused like stuff, shift filling thing. So very task arrest, I suppose, at the start. And we built that out with him. That's no longer operating at the moment. But building that application gave us so much of a taste for what it's like to go through every element of that whole design process and consider how every screen looks and how it feels to be used and what the user actually is expecting to happen from that screen and what's the business model for the application need to look like. And what are the costs to run it, and how much work do we have to put in to build it, and so many things that that was the first and biggest like end to end we'd done at that point. So that was pretty worth it. And that was probably the tail end of the lockdowns going into.
So it basically set you up for the further success, right?
I think so in a lot of ways. Like
How
I think
long
so.
did it take you until you were able to pay you like the normal salary the developer would get somewhere?
We that's a weird question to answer. We were very lucky in that I think we qualified for JobKeeper just barely from COVID. So we sort of got a bit of income from that to supplement the work we could find in the early days, which was a bit of a cheat code in a way, I suppose, at the time. So then at least we had a bit of consistency. And it wasn't heaps, but it was a bit of consistency. So it let us just, I guess, take some risks and find some exciting projects. But proper, like, here's an actual salary that makes sense to be paying yourself, probably not for another sort of 2 years from there. So probably like, 2022, early 2022, I think. We sort of landed some bigger clients by then. We had a bit more locked in. We'd also slimmed down the business. So two of our partners, we started as four, two of our partners had left. It's just Josh, who's still in the business with me and myself. And we landed a pretty big client and we went, okay, holy shit, like this is more work and more money than we've had coming through before. And we were handling it just fine. But the decision was kind of like, okay, do we pay ourselves a bit more respectably or do we bring someone else in and try and scale? And we bet on the latter and brought in our first full-time employee.
That's great. I think it's amazing when you're like, okay, now it's time to scale. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
What were the most challenging like moments or things during the first year when you've been launching?
The first year it was definitely trying to navigate how do we find more business without being able to actually go and talk to anyone about doing any work for them. Like there was no events. Even once lockdowns lifted up, it was pretty slow to come back. And we're also new, so we didn't really know exactly where to look. There was probably still places to look if you were already like in the know, I suppose. You'd have your online communities, you'd have somewhere to go, I'm sure. Your Gold Coast Professionals Hub LinkedIn group or whatever probably still had some correspondence, but we did not know where to go. So just finding new work felt like, okay, well, where are we going to get this from? And until someone miraculously dropped into our laps saying, hey boys, this is what I need. It was pretty much just a headless chicken race.
Yeah. During the setup process, like you said, it took probably 2 years until you were like, okay, we're now ready to scale. Was there something embarrassing that you're now like, we should have done this differently?
Probably not the first 2 years, to be honest. I think like there's so many things you can look back now and say, we should have done this, we should have done that. But like, if I was back in COVID lockdowns and the uncertainty around that, if I didn't know what I knew now, like, would I actually do anything differently? And I don't know the answer to that. Like, I think it's not something I've really thought about. Is there things we've done where we've made a mistake? I mean, I guess probably there is. I think we probably, when we brought our guys on, we did start to scale. We were probably blasé with having the right processes in place for too long. So probably we ran with sort of the trust that they would, I guess, just manage themselves sort of for a little bit, and that didn't entirely not work, but it also was really inefficient. So I think we didn't really leverage that momentum to the best we could have. If we had really been on top of that and had the right processes to be efficient with our time then, we would have saved ourselves a lot of trouble in between then and now, I suppose. We would have probably grown a bit quicker maybe than we ended up growing. Yeah.
How did you learn to be the manager or the leader? Because like you jumped from uni into the business.
The accidental manager, I guess, right? The accidental salesperson as well.
Yeah.
I think I'm still figuring that out, to be honest with you. But I think most people are. I think managing people's hard, especially like, we're all mates, even our employees, they're mates. So knowing the balance of like what you leave at the door and what you bring in, like it's a fine line. I think you've just got to separate it out and go, okay, when you're here to do a job, you're here to do a job. Nothing's personal. And then you go home and you still be mates. How do we manage our time? Like we just have to continually think about process. Like what's holding us up? What are we not writing down? We should be writing down. What do our clients want to see back from us every time we deliver a piece of work? But it's always asking ourselves those questions now, I think. And at least that's giving us a bit more of an idea of, okay, well then what do we need to do as a team to make that happen? And then who needs to be the person who's saying, all right, everyone, here's what I need. And I think probably naturally I fill in that role a bit more in terms of like standard process stuff. In terms of the code quality, it's all Josh.
Okay.
And I think he does a great job in that regard, but I don't know what his secret sauce is.
So you've been able to split kind of who is responsible for what, right? And you.
Yeah. Having someone else, like having a business partner, I honestly don't know how I would do it without one. I think having another person there to share that responsibility and support you and take on some of the tasks that maybe you're not suited to doing, like game changing. Like I don't know, I see some people running a business on their own and I'm like, mad respect, because I think I'd struggle to do it.
What's the secret sauce that you're still running the business and have not quit it?
Probably like a lot of it's because I've got Josh to do with me as well. And things are fun when you're doing it with a mate. So like he's a fantastic mate, fantastic business partner. So yeah, it's kept us both, I think, locked in.
How old is Josh?
Same age as me.
Same
Yeah.
age. So does being young help you in the business, or some people do not trust, or how do you deal with this?
I think it can help and it can hinder. Like some people like that you're a fresh set of eyes and you're, um, really, I guess you're wearing your heart on your sleeve a bit. You've got skin in the game when you're someone young in business. You've got something to lose, so you're going to work hard. But then also there is an experience gap that they maybe aren't sure that you can fill. That being said, there are people who've been in, doing the same thing for 20 years who are still no good at it. Like it happens. And there's people who've picked something up a year ago and they're incredible. So I guess you never know until you vet someone. And I think people who've actually given us a shot have normally found that we can work really well with them and we get on really well. But there's probably just sometimes a barrier to break down one way or the other. There's probably expectations that people place in their head upon you that sometimes you need to work around. But I think that's the same for everyone, really. I'd say all in all, it's maybe been more of a blessing than a curse, especially early days. When you're young and you don't have, a family to provide for yet, you don't maybe have a mortgage to service initially. You can be a bit more free with, your financials. Like you can kind of, if you're dedicated and you believe in it, you can kind of make it work a bit more. If you had to, provide for 3 kids and pay for your mortgage and your car and your dog and everything, and you're trying to start a business, that'd be very daunting, I think. At least I'd find that very daunting. So maybe being young is good in that respect if you get that mobility in your life to sort of to do it. You've got some energy, so get up early, go to bed late, you'll live. But yeah.
Does your business take much time from your daily time, I would say, from your family?
It can. There's definitely times where you get a call on the weekend and you got to hop on for something. But I think we're pretty good in that we try and actually say, let's be really productive in the time we've set aside to be productive, and then let's rest when we're not in that zone. I really believe in those productivity studies around like how long someone can critically think for a day. And our work is just critically thinking, it's problem solving. It's sitting there looking at a screen and going, this problem needs to be resolved. How do I do that? It's not something you can do menial tasks on really very often, if at all. So for me, I think if we're, working for 8 hours a day, an hour of that's probably lunch, toilet breaks, getting a coffee, moving around to sustain yourself, I suppose, for the day. Probably an hour of that is having a chat with someone we walk past, Google searching something because you've focus drifted. So you're probably already 2 hours down. So realistically, you're in the office for 8 hours. You're probably productively working for 6 hours. And I think people can be productive, like really, really probably truly productive when they're thinking for I forget the number, somewhere between like 4 and 6 hours is what people see in studies. And so I think focusing around that as like, when we're projecting our capacity, we're projecting how much work we want to bring in and how quick we can do work. That's the numbers I'm working with for planning that. So, I think if you're maximizing that time productively and then going and doing something else, you're probably preventing a lot of burnout. You're probably enjoying the work more. So you're going to be putting your all behind it and you're going to be getting through it probably a bit quicker. Those productive like flow states, if you can get into them, like you can just absolutely smash code out at a rate that's insane sometimes, especially when you're seeing the same problems come in, like, 50% of probably every application is the same stuff. It's a sign up flow. It's forgot my password. It's all the back end that goes behind that stuff. It's largely similar. And so you're just getting through those tasks. That is more menial, but like you're still, when you're productive and you're in a flow state and you're getting through it, you just can nail it and do it really well. So
I think it sounds like a culture that everyone working, especially when you touch base the science and trying to really understand how much the person can do within the time frame, like within their workday, for example, and do not expect the person to overcome the reality because the brain has only this amount of capacity and not more.
Exactly right. I mean, like I think authors talk about like writer's block. If you're just sat there and you're George R.R. Martin trying to write The Winds of Winter and you're just completely stuck, sitting there looking at your screen for 8 hours and doing nothing doesn't help you get motivated again. It's just going to put you off even more. So I think it's fine and good and healthy to step away, have the time you need to function as a person and try and come back and then get yourself into that. I mean, even in software development, it can be a creative space. Coming in fresh, really gearing yourself up to solve a problem and focusing on that for just a reasonable burst of time before you get tired, before you're mentally fatigued, you can be at your best and you can do really good work. Yeah, I know if I work a day and I'm 12 hours into something, the ability to think about really complex problems, it wears away. Like you get tired. And at that point in the day, am I providing my best work? Like is an hourly rate at that point in the day worth what it is at the start of the day? Like probably not. No, like it's probably way, way, way less efficient. So I think just at that point, go to bed, rest up, come back.
You learned, like what I'm hearing now, you learned so much through these 6 years of running the business across how to manage the team, how to manage the burnout itself, and like probably how to be the owner. But If you would have a chance to tell just one advice to your younger self who was starting the business, what would be this one advice?
I think honestly, it would be, and people talk about working on the business, not in the business all the time. But it would be to do way, way, way more of that. I think I've been very heavy on the tools for the last 3 or 4 years. And that's been very good in some ways, but it's also limited how I've been able to work on things that I want our business to be able to do better, work on our processes, work on getting more pipeline going and being more consistent, not being in sort of feast and famine cycles in terms of new business. I think if I had have made a cognitive choice to do that earlier, uh, then yeah, we'd probably be in a bit of a better spot, I suppose. Not that we're in a bad spot, but like, yeah, I think there's probably um, food we left on the table basically because we were just too busy working to look up.
We're going to take back to the very much beginning when you have been starting the business. And let's say there is a mate of yourself who is 20 years old, who's starting business in tech or just wants to start. What advice would you give them in terms of the money? How much money do they need to launch the tech business nowadays?
Depends what sort of tech business. Is this like a product or a services based business?
More like a product.
Product?
Yeah.
Okay. Like it probably depends. Realistically, you're probably talking $50,000 to $100,000 worth of development, marketing, everything else for like a medium-sized software-based product.
Yeah.
I would say like for an MVP type thing.
Yeah, to cover some at least basic costs. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you can do it yourself, again, you can knock a lot off that. But then yeah, you're gonna wear the marketing hat and the developer hat
And
and
I
the sales
probably
hat
burn
and the
out
product
pretty
owner
good.
hat. Yeah.
I'll probably call you and say, "Hey Sam, remember you explaining to me about how not to burn out? Well, you know what?
Here we are.
I do have this now." What's the worst advice that you ever get from someone?
Worst advice. I mean, like I sort of have talked at length already about this burnout thing. Like, there's people who do say like you've just got to grind it and you've just got to be doing something all the time. And there's people that works for. Like there's people that they just love what they do to a point where they can do it 16 hours a day and fill themselves up with caffeine and just power on. But I don't think that's most people. I think that's a very slim amount of people. I think for most people, living a healthy and balanced lifestyle around running a business is going to leave you feeling happier. It's going to have your relationships, professional, personal, everything in a better spot. And that's going to likely make you more successful, or at least you're going to hate it less if you're not, right? So life's too short to just sit there and hate it. If you're going to start your own business, you shouldn't be doing it so you can sit there and hate it. That's counterintuitive. You can hate any job. You don't need to make it the most stressful one to hate it.
There are so many startup businesses that jump on the market now, and probably 90% of them talking about rapid growth, scalability in 24 hours. They need everything quick, rapidly, and they expect people to be high performers. Would you think you'd be a high performer in this tech company, or you would be more rejecting this because like you have to be balanced and you have to understand, okay, I have only this my brain capacity to do my work.
Probably depends what I mean by that definition. There's definitely companies when they say high performer, what they mean is they want you at your desk at 7 or 8 in the morning and they want you to finish at 7 or 8 at night. And like, I'm not that person. If that's what they want from me, I wouldn't be their guy. And I've got my reasons for that. Is that person performing at a high output for 12 hours a day? I don't think so, especially if they're just an employee. I think so many places probably want to pay not enough for someone who's that dedicated. If you want someone to be doing that, I think you want like a technical founder that's like that. You don't want an employee. I'd say be realistic. But like, yeah, high performer can be that. There's people who are like that and they're productive for most of that. Good on them. I don't think that's most people. By that definition, I guess I'm not. But I think that there's people who also get the same amount done in less time. And I think that the thing that we focus on too much is effort, not outcome. 20 hours of work to deliver an outcome versus the value of the outcome can be wildly different. If you've got someone who's high performant because they are quicker at writing their code and checking it and testing it and getting it out there into your product than someone else, and then they can go home and live a balanced, happy life, I mean, that's in my mind better because you've got someone who's motivated, who's still outputting what you require from them, as opposed to just working someone to their bone, right? Mm-hmm. There's people who can disagree with that, but I mean, at the end of the day, what matters most to like our clients isn't how many hours it took me to do a thing. It's when the thing was done by, to an extent, right? Like there's a timeline element, but it's that it solves the problem. And the problem to them at the end of the day is worth some amount of money. And without the solution, they either can't do business or they're losing money because it's an issue that they have in their business. And that's something that's discernible normally. I mean, in the case of like a startup, maybe it's harder to say truly what's the opportunity of the business. But if we're working with an established business, they've got a problem or they're launching a new product, they've got assessments, they've got an idea around the opportunity for them. There's a tangible financial element to that, and there's a timeline that they want to do it within. I think that those two things matter more than actually how many hours are spent doing it. And that if you can do that in less hours, typically that's better for the client, right? Because they get it quicker.
Yeah.
And I'm less tired from having done it.
And
So
the
I've
client's
probably done a better
happy.
job. And the client's happy.
Yeah.
And maybe it costs a bit less as well. But like if the value is right, you know what I mean? Like if having this piece of software developed for this company is worth $1 million and we do it for, you know, it's worth $1 million to them. And that's measurable and our price is less than that, it's already worth it for them if it solves that issue to an extent. I mean, if it's like 99999, you know, if we're building an application for someone for $100,000 and their business ends up turning over $1 million a year, they're laughing. So like, let's try and do that and focus on that element of it, I think.
We've got a few questions from the social media subscribers, and we've got Jen, who is 21, and she says, I'm scared to start because I don't have business experience. Did you feel ready when you started, or did you just fake it until you made it?
Definitely did not feel ready, but I had people supporting me doing it because I had co-founders.
Can you please be honest? Do you make more money than you would working in a corporate job, or you just like more freedom with less money?
More freedom with less money.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it'd be a lot easier just to go into industry. Because I wouldn't have to worry about a sales pipeline.
Yeah. And you would have definitely less headache and responsibility for your current team. Because how many team members you currently have?
Well, Josh and I are the partners in the business, and then we've got 2 full-time staff as well.
Two. So there are 4 of you who basically manage.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that's like the reality for a lot of business owners is they're probably not making what they could be making just going and being a highly skilled person in their industry. Or at least it takes a long time to get there. But like it keeps you responsible and holds you accountable. Because you've got to earn the money to pay yourself.
Yeah.
So if you're not doing that, or if your process in your business by which that happens isn't happening, you got a big problem. So if you're ready to take on that responsibility, great. If you're not, take the high-paying corporate job.
And I think you've done, guys, amazing job on taking the responsibility and bringing the business up to scale to 4 people. So thanks a lot for sharing and for being here today and being able to tell a bit more what's behind the curtains and how it's not easy just to launch the business and earn millions. It's just consistent job that you have to follow, and you have to deliver to clients, and you have to be consistent within your team as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thanks for having me on. It's been great to talk about it. And anyone out there who's trying to decide if they should give it a go or not, give it a go.
Amazing. Thank you.